Good morning, everyone. Let's welcome once again our presenters from Union Bank. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lay. Good morning and a pleasant day to our dear teachers from all over the Philippines. On behalf of our partners from Thames International, City Savings Bank, Union Bank Accelerator Program, Edu Rescue and Acad Asia. This is Arlene of Union Bank of the Philippines, and I will be your facilitator for today. Welcome to our webinar on measuring learning outcomes. So I'm sure for most of you, I'm already a familiar face. This is because last Wednesday, I was here to talk about measuring learning outcomes through formative assessments. So just a brief background about myself. I am currently under the Human Resource Group of Union Bank of the Philippines. I'm a graduate of psychology, and immediately after college, I ventured into a career in human resource. So a lot of you might wonder why I'm here today talking in front of all of you. This is because educators and teachers like you have made a really big impact in my career choice, and I owe them where I am right now. So whenever I have opportunities like this, I grab it as a way of giving back to our educators. So joining me today are my colleagues from the other business units of Union Bank of the Philippines. So allow me to introduce them to you so they can say hi and welcome you to this learning session. All right, so you're seeing their pictures in the slides right now, but their videos are now on also. So let's welcome Mr. Neil Bungkayaw. He is from our Enterprise Risk Management Division.
Morning, teachers.
Thank you, Sir Neil. We also have Mr. Efren Dancel from the SME Business Group of Union Bank.
Gandang araw.
Right. And then last but not the least, of course, we have Sir Leo Gisik from our Retail Banking Center.
Good morning, teachers.
All right. So you'll see more of my partners as we move further with the discussion for today. So just a few reminders before we proceed. Your audio is currently turned off, but we encourage you to share your comments and thoughts about the topic in the chat box. Or for those who are currently joining us via Facebook Live, you may also send in your comments and questions in the comment section of Facebook. So we will entertain your questions after the discussion of our topic for today. But as a reminder, please, for those joining us via Zoom, please change your message settings and ensure that your message is set to be visible to all panelists and attendees. So this way, you can collaborate and interact with your co-attendees and at the same time with us, the rest of the panelists. Okay. So to move further, we'd like to know what your expectations are about our session for today. So I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with Menti because we've been using this exercise since Wednesday. But to give you instructions, please access menti.com using your laptop, your tablet, or your mobile phone. And then please enter the code shown in your screen. So the code is 241 7677. So again, the code is 241-7677. My teammates will also put the code in the chat box and the comment section. All right, so I'm sure most of you are already in menti.com. We'll give you a minute to key in your answers. My teammate, Sir Efren, will assist us with the timer. All right, we see answers coming in.
Fifteen seconds.
Sir Efren, for that reminder.
4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Okay, time's up. We have a lot of answers. Ang saya, ang daming answers na binigay ng teachers natin. Let's take a quick look at your expectations for today. So, the biggest word that we see here is that you're expecting the session to be an informative, and the second one is participative. Okay, so we hope that we'll be able to give you a very informative and participative session for today. We have a lot of, we have different activities in store for you for today. So we hope that you continue participating, such as how you participated in this first activity. So there's still a lot more answers coming in. There are also comments about new learnings, new thoughts and learnings, and engaging and interactive. So we hope that you find this session informative, engaging, and interactive for everyone. Okay, thank you so much for participating with that quick activity. So to move on, we'd like to give a quick recap of our previous discussions. So we are done with our discussion on measuring formative assessments last Wednesday. Yesterday, we had Sir Efren to talk about measuring summative assessments. And then for today, our topic will be all about how to avoid cheating in an online learning. So just a quick review. Our next slide will just give us an outline of what happened in the past days. So last Wednesday, I was here to talk about formative assessments and provided 7 examples on how it can be done online. So we provided examples such as online quizzes, open-ended essay questions, picture analyses, we have online polls, game type activities, and experiments and activities, and even forum posts. So we let you had that hands-on experience for some of the formative assessment examples. So aside from the webinar, we also gave you pre and post assessments. With that, you gained your first bar in our progress chart. So congratulations for accomplishing the first module of this topic. Next, yesterday we had another talk and we talked about measuring summative assessments. So we had a webinar, we also had exercises and a long test about the topic. And my teammate, Sir Efren, discussed about this particular topic. So Sir Efren, would you like to give us a quick recap on the points of your discussion yesterday?
Yeah, thank you very much, Arlene. We discussed yesterday what is summative assessment. Remember the framework, and then we also discussed the components, the 3 components: WW, written work, the performance task, and the quarterly assessment.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that quick recap, Sir Efren. Okay. And then for today, this is actually an exciting topic because we'll talk about how to avoid online cheating. We have, of course, a webinar session in store for you. We have different exercises and quizzes towards the session. So avoiding online cheating is one of the important topics, no? Especially in this new normal. I would like to say that cheating is already a challenge, I guess, for most teachers in our traditional classroom setup. So all the more that it will be challenging as we have this new setup right now. So to talk about our topic on how to avoid online cheating will be my colleagues, Sir Leo and Sir Neil. But to first start the discussion, I'm going to give the floor to my teammate Neil. He'll talk about online cheating and its forms. So the floor is yours, Sir Neil.
Thank you very much, Miss Arlene. So I'm Neil po. I graduated statistics and immediately joined Union Bank as a risk officer. So just like Miss Arlene, I'm also interested in willing to teach teacher since I love learning din naman po. So I'll be talking about first the objectives of today's topic would be brief description of what is online cheating and many of its forms and how to avoid them. First, online cheating and its forms. So a study by Kessler International in 2017 recognized different forms of online cheating. So in the chat box po, can you guess the percentage of how many respondents have admitted to committing these forms of online cheating? Any guesses lang po? There are 5 forms po dito, so you can choose whatever you want to guess. So, halimbawa po, admitted to plagiarism from internet sources. Sa tingin niyo po, out of the respondents, how many have cheated? From Ms. Lani Buenafe, 85%. 76, 90. So, medyo mataas po, no? Yung mga, check po natin kung ganyan po talaga kataas yung mga nag-admit. Plagiarism, 90%. 60%, 80%. So, thank you po. Keep them coming din lang din po. 75, 60. So, according to the study, these are the glaring statistics po. As you can see, it's more than 50%. So, 76% had copied text from somebody else's assignment. 72% admitted to plagiarism from internet sources. 79% use mobile devices to cheat, while 42% purchased papers or essays online, and 28% had surveys to take their online classes for them. So as you can see po, there are different forms and students have been admitting to committing these forms of online cheating. And another finding of the study din po is the admittance of the students that they are pressured to submit their requirements. So hopefully as educators, we are finding to strike a balance to mitigate po yung pressure na nabibigay natin sa mga students sa pagpapasa ng mga requirements, and as well as making assessments, formative assessment and summative assessment, really measuring the students. So hopefully po, yung mga nabigay po namin na tips and tools from the previous 2 sessions ay magamit po natin, and as well as later on we'll be discussing how to avoid online cheating naman. Thank you po for the answers. To reiterate the point from Janice Carlin, a professor from the Guardia Community College and Thomas Edison State College, differentiated the cheating in traditional and online settings. So in traditional, students photocopy final exams and post them online, even text in the room kung meron po silang mga gadgets, and even open browsers to consult with Google during exams. So siguro po ito yung mga exams na they are in the laboratory and they are accessing computers. While in online, they use unauthorized books during tests, share information with other students, and actually pay people to do their work. So since hindi nga po rin kasi nakikita mismo in an online setting, possible that they allow other people to do their work for them. Again, she says, technology changes how cheating is done rather than making it easier. So hindi po, parang nagkakaroon lang ng other form yung cheating in an online setting instead of making it easier to avoid it. And according to Craig Markovitz, founder of Viking Tutors, without someone present to monitor and discourage these practices, some students don't understand the consequences or ramifications of their cheating. So as educators po, it is somehow our responsibility to monitor our students and discourage them of the penalties and punishments with online cheating. So another form po of online cheating is plagiarism. So we have to talk about this po, especially on high school students, since kapag papasok po sila ng college, they'll be creating their own researches, and and then we have to train and start our students to teach what is plagiarism. Since in college po, there are some cases na heavily penalized and punishable yung plagiarism. I remembered po when I was in college, my professor shared a story in plagiarism. There's this student po na graduated na and had his thesis submitted. He earned the degree. And then sometime po in the future, after few years, na notice po na nagkaroon daw po siya ng plagiarism on the thesis. Ang nangyari po, binawi po sa kanya yung degree na yun. Dahil nga po sa simpleng plagiarism. So, have to instill students na yung plagiarism is a punishable act. So here, Merriam-Webster defined plagiarism as a set of different definitions to seal and pass off as one's own, to use without crediting the source, to commit literary theft. So even in literature po, there is a possibility that you can commit plagiarism. And to present as new and original idea or product derived from an existing source. So there are different forms po of plagiarism, namely turning in someone else's work as your own. So instead of recognizing someone doing that, kiniklaim nyo po na inyo yun. Copying words or ideas from someone else's without actually giving credit. Failing to put quotation marks on quotation. So, if ever po may kinuha po kayo ang reference tapos hindi niyo po siya properly na-quote, it is a form na po of plagiarism. Giving incorrect information about the source of a quotation. Changing words but copying the sentence structure of a source without giving actual credit. And also, copying so many words or ideas from a source that makes up the majority of your work, whether you give credit or not. So, to avoid po the plagiarism, we actually have to attribute and cite our sources. So, attribution po is the process of giving credit to the authors for their work. So, this is actually recognizing that certain idea or certain work is not actually yours, or somebody have helped you to develop this new information. So in a way po to attribute your authors, recognizing that idea is from a different person, different set of people, we cite our sources. So it is a way of attributing your sources. It is a quotation or information of a source. So when we cite our sources po, citing indicates that this information comes from this person, whether in text po or in presentations. We recognize that certain words or certain phrases, certain ideas ay nanggaling po sa ibang tao at hindi sa atin. So an example po of attribution and citation in a paper. So here po, an example of in-text citation, meaning as we write po the research proposal, we cite our sources. So here, we recognize that STEAM in 2018 conducted this study on Alzheimer's disease. And then another form of citation, another study, it is from Tang and Pierce in 2014, page 231 of a certain paper of a certain book. And when we in-text citation naman po, at the bottom, di ba lagi naman po natin ginagawa yun, we indicate our sources. So this STEAM 2018 po is found here. So the complete information of that specific idea will be found on this article. Also, authors Tang and Pierce in 2014, ito naman po yung study na pinaghanguan po ng paper, which is found on the Journal on Aging. So that is how we cite and attribute our sources to avoid plagiarism. So online naman po maraming guides on MLA, APA, and other citation styles. We could start teaching our students po, especially on high school and senior high school students when, lalo na po pag may research paper or science research paper po. It is very important po that we teach our students citation attribution to avoid plagiarism. Moving on po, since we are on the concept of idea of creating research papers that are reliable and valid, we present po the Wikipedia. Why is not a reliable source? So here, according to Wikipedia itself na po ito, Wikipedia is not a reliable source. Bakit po siya hindi reliable source? Because it can be edited by anyone at any time. Meaning, halimbawa po, if para lang din po siyang set of people users, halimbawa po parang Facebook lang siya, tapos meron pong mga users na may Facebook, tapos nag-login sila, they will be able to edit the information in Wikipedia. So at anyone can edit that at any time. Worst case scenario po would be may nag-edit tapos mali yung nailagay, vandalism. Possible po na yung nakuha nyong yon ay mali yung information that hindi reliable. So it could be a vandalism, a work in progress, or just plain wrong. Pinaka-talamak or ano po ito when it comes to biographies of living persons. Minsan, ine-edit po ng mga users tapos parang hindi po tama yung information na nandoon. So hindi po reliable since hindi po na-check kung valid or tama yung information na nasa Wikipedia. Pero hindi naman po lahat ng nasa Wikipedia ay mali. We can check the reliability and validity of our sources naman din po. So halimbawa po nito, on reliability check, halimbawa po, we search plagiarism, the definition of plagiarism. So usually po, the first result would be, when we search on Google, the first result would be always the definition according to Wikipedia. So hindi naman po at all wrong yung nasa Wikipedia. However, we have to check whether the information given by Wikipedia is valid or reliable. So halimbawa po gusto kong kunin itong first sentence dito. On a definition statement you wanted to check, look for the numbers in superscript, which is these two po, yung 1 and 2. For the next idea, third sentence naman po. So yun yung first step po. Check po natin tandaan po natin yung numbers associated with the statement we would like to get. Next step po, sa ibaba po ng pages, we will find a reference section. In here po, Wikipedia listed all of the references kung saan po nila hinango yung mga definition and other sources of the information contained on a specific Wikipedia page. So recall the numbers in step 1. So for example po, statement 1, I would like to check that. Pupunta lang po ako sa link associated, any link associated to that number. So halimbawa po, I visited library plagiarism policies. So when I visited that link po, it prompted me to a link in a book. So ibig sabihin po nito, yung definition na nandoon would be a valid and reliable since galing po siya sa isang libro. And another one would be, kung gusto ko naman po i-check yung definition associated to the third link, pupuntahan ko po itong DOI. Nung pinuntahan ko po yung link na yon, I was prompted to a journal article. So meaning, a published journal article under the Journal of Springerling. So ibig sabihin lang po nun, that definition is somehow valid since published po in definition na ginamit. So that is one way po how to check the reliability of the information you get from the internet and specifically from Wikipedia. We'll be having po a short activity before we proceed to the next topic. Ms. Arlene.
Thank you, Sir Neil, for that very informative talk about online cheating and its forms. So it is really important, no, to have an awareness on what cheating is, especially right now that we are in a new normal. There are different ways on how students can cheat, and what Neil was able to provide us earlier is an overview on cheating, online cheating and its forms. So it's important that we know this. That's why we have also prepared a talk on how to avoid cheating online. But before we proceed to that next topic, we'll have a quick activity first. So flashing in your screen right now is a QR code and a website. No? So menti.com. You access menti.com and we'll give you a minute to answer the question provided. So this is in relation to our next topic, which is ways on how to avoid cheating online. Okay, so Menti, please enter the code 1546224. Okay, so maybe we can look at the answers now. So let's take a quick look about your answers and opinions on how to avoid online cheating. So yeah, there's one here about checking the reliability of the sources. Yes, that's one way to do that. Observe citations or give citations. Check online sources, attribute the authors, and do citations. Okay. All right. So make sure that students are um, from the start. Tell the students that plagiarism is not allowed. They must use citations. Okay, so that's also one way to do that. All right. So there are good insights here as to how we can avoid cheating online. But to talk about that further, I'd like to introduce our next speaker for today, Sir Leo. Take it away, Sir Leo. The floor is yours.
So good morning. I am Leo J. Gisik. Uh, I am a business analyst from Union Bank. Then what do I do? So basically I handle the data and business requirement of retail banking center. Just like you, when you measure your students, I also measure the performance of our branch sales officer in its respective branches. So being a member of Microsoft Educators Ambassadors Program, I was invited by our HR uh, to volunteer for Heroes 2021. So I humbly accepted it because for me, it's an opportunity for me to serve and to give back to our beloved teachers. So that's my introduction for myself. So we'll now proceed to the next topic. So how to avoid online cheating. So based from your inputs, I think we can group your inputs into three main items. The first item is culture. Second is strategy. And lastly, technology. So for culture, basically the class and the previous slide, Sir Neil. Basically the class, the school and the teacher must establish a strong sense of culture of academic honesty and integrity. Then for the strategy naman, the teacher must identify strategies on how to cheat-proof his or her exam. Then for technology, you need to provide an tool or identify tools that will help you enforce the culture that you want to establish and to implement the strategies that you have identified. So we'll now proceed first to culture. So next slide. So basically culture, it is a powerful tool that unites people to act as one, to work as one, and with a shared vision and beliefs. So in the image in the slide, you can see that the parent, teacher, and student must work collaboratively to establish a culture of honesty and integrity. So first things first, for the start of the year, the teacher must conduct an open discussion with students. This and also with the parents to define cheating. What are the forms of cheating? What are the examples? Then they should also set expectation for each other and clarify the rules for each. So for example, for parents, they should be like a facilitator. So they should ensure that the internet connectivity of the students is okay. They should also ensure that all the materials are picked up from the school. They should also ensure that the materials are printed, scanned, and submitted to the teachers. But we also need to clarify that it's not the role of teachers of the parents to answer the online quizzes. So it's the role of students. In the discussion, the teacher should also explain that how academic dishonesty will make your job harder. So basically, if there's an academic dishonesty, it gives a wrong impression to the teacher. So with wrong data or wrong impression, the result will be dangerous, or the action plan will be dangerous. Next tips is to require student to sign an academic code or honor code. Also, during course orientation, you can also quiz the students on how well they understand the policies on honesty and academic integrity. So next slide, please. In the exams, you can also include waivers or acknowledgement before they can proceed to the test. So basically, this will be a evidence or document that the students have understand fully the policies on cheating. Next is you can also pursue disciplinary action. So for me, 1 to 2 warnings is enough. Then after that, you need to pursue disciplinary action because it will send a clear message to every student that you are serious with the policy on cheating. You can also creatively remind students about about cheating policies. You can gamify or you can make activities that will remind them of the policy. You can also remind students that before quiz or exams, there should be no phones and other devices within their reach. You can also require that the cameras or videos are turned on. Then again, frequent reminders to students is a good action. to know that you are taking the cheating seriously. So next slide, please. So next is strategy. So what are the strategies that teachers can do to make the test cheat-free? So here are some of the items that we have identified. So first, you can limit the test in a certain fair time. So what is fair for everyone? So for me, it should be long enough to give time to some average student or below average student to complete the test, but not long enough to provide time for other students to browse for other sources or to check or to chat to their co-students. You can also create questions that require higher order of thinking. So basically, it says that your test must test their understanding of the questions. It's not a question that you can just easily Google you can Google the answers in Google pala, sorry. You can also use varied type of questions. So in our previous presentations, we have presented several types of questions that you can use: true or false, essay, ranking, then identification. You can also set up exams to show one question at a time. So this will limit the probability of students screen capturing your exam and sharing it to others. So if it is one question at a time, she will have a difficulty of sharing all the files because it's one question at a time. You can also shuffle yung questions. So basically, this will limit the familiarity of the students to the exam. Then you can use different sets or versions of tests. So for a certain group, you can make 2 or 4 sets of tests. So this will limit the probability that students will share answers and questions. Then to avoid familiarity with the exam, the test can be taken just once. Okay, so in the next slide, we will show you how to make forms or how to use Microsoft Forms, a technological tool that will implement your strategy. So, Sir Neil. So first, how to include yung waivers on every test. So you can use the add branching button. So in Microsoft Forms, there's a add branching button. Basically, what it does is it's direct the students depending on their choices. So in the first slide, if the student chooses yes, it will proceed to the test. But if she answers no, it will end the form, so she cannot take the quiz. It can also direct students to their preferred sets of tests. So in the second image, they can choose what type of test they will choose. So the branching will direct them to whatever section based on their option. Second, next slide, sir. Next slide is how to create sets of tests. So basically, there are 2 options on how to create sets of tests. You can either use add section, or you can create 2 separate or 2 or more separate quiz with different links. So there's a pros and cons in every option. So for add section, of course, there will be a complexity in how to make that form. But the pros naman is it will have only one link for all. For dun naman sa second option, which is create two separate quiz, two or more quizzes, it will simplify your preparation of the test, but there will be a complexity of sharing the links to everyone. So that's yung next is how to shuffle questions. So basically, you should go to the settings and click for the shuffle questions. You can also send email to the students. So basically, this will document that they have already taken the exam. So additional tips on how to cheat-proof your test. So delay the score availability. So this will limit the probability of students sharing the correct answers to their colleagues or to their co-students. Refrain from using publisher test banks verbatim. So this is true especially for those mga chapter test or mga test found in the textbook. Basically, if you copy that question and search it in Google, there's a possibility that there's an answer for that. The next tip is related to that publisher test banks verbatim. So be aware and monitor study sites for your materials, exams, assignments. So an example of it is Course Hero, Study Live, Study Soup. So you should monitor your materials and assignments if it is uploaded to that study sites. Then you should protect your test questions and answers. So if it is printed, you should lock it in a drawer. And if it is a soft copy, it should be password protected. And students should also give an output or perform worksheet and upload it in Google Classroom or in an email. So this will verify that the students have made the materials based on their handwritten and style of their based on their handwritten. So what are the ways in the Microsoft Forms? So for the delay in score availability, you should go to the settings and turn off the show results availability. So it's there. Then here you can also record the name of the student, and itong one response per person. So ito yung this will limit the students' chances of taking the exam multiple times. Next, sir. To limit the time test of the test, you should go to the settings and set the start date and time and end date of the test. So in our previous slide, we have shown you a simple work tool or simple technology tool that will enhance enforce your culture and at the same time implement the strategies that you have identified. In the next slide, we'll show you advanced technology that is currently being done around the world. So this is just to give you a snapshot of how the world is doing on limiting online cheating. So the first technology is proctored online exam. So basically, this answers the need for schools to have a proctor in an online exam. This technology uses webcam technology that views the students' testing area 360 degree. It also employs artificial intelligence solution which detects whether the student is doing something other than taking exam, and at the same time if she is talking to someone. The next technology is lockdown browser. So basically this technology answers the the need to limit the ano the access of students to other applications, to chats, and to other computer applications that can be a source of cheating. So this is a specialized browser that lacks all the button except for the proceed, back, and submit button. It disables printing, scanning, and screenshots. And the browser will not close if the students will not submit the test. For keystroke verification software naman, it's a technology that that minimizes the risk of identity theft and also the probability of student asking for someone to answer the exam. So basically, it uses an artificial intelligence technology that captures the habits of the students on how they input in the computer, how they type, how they react to the camera or in the laptop, and also her facial recognition. If the system detects that there's something unusual in the access of the student, it will inform the teacher that it can be that there's a possible fraud identity theft on the said student. So the next is text matching software. So this technology limits the case as discussed by Sir Neil, yung plagiarism. So it's a technology that matches the submitted document versus the submitted document of other students. At the same time, the documents of other on the web, including the thesis and other journals. So it will give you a feedback whether the submitted document is plagiarized and how many percentage is copied from the other sources. So we have downloaded a video, and please provide us input or feedback on the said video. Thank you.
Google Classroom features an originality checker similar to Turnitin, which teachers can leverage on assignments collected in Classroom. It's an excellent free alternative, but it is not exactly like Turnitin, so I will point out a couple differences as we go. To get started, create a new assignment or edit one of your existing ones. Put a check mark in the box next to Originality Reports. When I do so, I'm notified that I can enable Originality Reports on only 3 assignments per class, since I have the basic Google Suite for Education. Organizations that have upgraded to Google Suite Enterprise have unlimited Originality Reports per class. Since I already have 1 assignment that I've used the Originality checker within this class, I only have 2 left. I have tried deleting an old assignment to see if I can free up one of those 3 slots, but I was unsuccessful if any student submissions had been made to the assignment. Let's see this from a student's view. Students visit the assignment like any other, but this Originality Reports available message cues them that the teacher has enabled this feature. Students select their submission just like they always do, but before they turn it in, they can run and view their Originality Report, unlike Turnitin, which withholds the Originality Report until the student has formally turned their work in. When you turn on Originality Reports for an assignment, students can run the report up to 3 times before they submit their work, and teachers will not be able to see the report students run prior to submission. After students run their Originality Reports, they can continue to improve their work before submitting the assignment. I'll view this Originality Report as a student. Now, I intentionally copied and pasted chunks of this essay from online sources, and my Originality Report clearly shows that. Students can view flagged passages by count or percentage of paper, and directly quoted passages can be toggled on or off. My paper doesn't have any quoted passages, so my toggle option is grayed out. This information on flagged passages hopefully prompts the student to make revisions, cite their sources, and paraphrase instead of copy-pasting, and the student has the opportunity to enter editing mode right from here to make those revisions, or they can close the tab and submit their work. Let's switch back to Teacher View and view the assignment submissions. Teachers must click on the student's submission to view the originality information for the submission. Unlike Turnitin, there is not a quick view of the match percentages for the entire class on one page, but since I need to open the student submissions anyway to grade them, this is not a huge deal to me, but it does make it harder to quickly scan a class of submissions to check for any originality issues. The number of flagged passages is shown right here, so in many cases, you may not need to click open the full originality report if this is 0, since flagged passages do not include direct quotes. When you do click on the originality report, the information, like the student view, includes a count and percentage of flagged passages, quoted passages, and where the flagged passages matched online, with comparisons and links directly to those pages on the web. Google Classroom's Originality database currently includes items public on the web. Unlike Turnitin, which stores student submissions in its database for use in originality checking, student work that has been scanned or submitted in Classroom is not stored or retained by Google. So if a student turns in the same paper as a friend from the previous semester, that would not be flagged. But in the future, Google plans to add an option for schools to have a private repository of student submissions that the school owns, so instructors can see peer-to-peer matches. Google's Originality Report is a free tool that can hopefully deter plagiarism and help students identify ahead of time when they're doing too much copy-pasting and not enough synthesizing and summarizing. It is not a 100% safeguard against copied work, but there are so many ways for students to fool any originality checker if they are intentionally copying that I think this is a great way to deter and educate without the huge price tag of most other plagiarism checkers.
So that's the video. So just a reminder, you can also use Google to check the submitted documents of your students. You can just copy part of the submitted work and paste it on the Google and search if there are matches. Thank you. I'll turn you over to Miss Arlene.
All right. Thank you, Sir Leo, for that very informative talk on ways to avoid cheating online. So now let's move to the next part. On your screen is a QR code and a link to a short quiz. So once you access the quiz, just read the instructions carefully. So if you access the quiz, you'll notice that there are 2 sets of tests in the form. So what you need to do to identify the set of tests that you have to take, if you are from Metro Manila, please choose set A. And then if you are from other regions or if you are from outside Metro Manila, please choose set B. Okay. My teammates will also put the link in the chat box for your easy reference. We'll give you 3 minutes to answer the quiz. Timer starts now.
$15 seconds.
Uh,
So
Ms.
I think we're
Ernie,
having a technical problem with the assessment, no? Kasi most
uh,
have a permission to view the test. So what we can do, Sir Neil, can you just flash the form, and then we'll go through the questions and look at the answers so that our teachers can.
I, Sir Neil, you can set the permission to all.
Mhm.
Already done, sir.
Okay. But in the interest of time, maybe we can just
Here,
look
ma'am.
at the answers of the assessment for the appreciation of our teachers also. So, Sir Neil, you can flash the answers, no? So, okay. All right. So, Sir Neil, can we switch to the screen where we are showing the actual form?
Actual form, ma'am.
Form up, yes. Thank you. All right. So flashing in your screen right now for the benefit of those who cannot access the assessment, we'll go through each of the questions in the test. So you'll notice that we gave you two different sets of tests. That's actually one way for you to avoid cheating. Kasi at least yung mga students nyo, hindi sila pare-pareho ng sets na na iti-take for their exam. So just to check on a quick run through on the questions provided here. So for set A, the first question is, when do you use a formative assessment? So just a quick review of our previous discussion. A formative assessment can be done at any time within a particular module. So a bonus tip that we gave you last time is that you can take it 1 to 3 times in a specific module. Okay, and then we also have the next question here, which is all about, all right, so formative, true or false, learning outcomes can be measured via formative assessment. So the correct answer to that is true. Okay, so I see here majority of our teachers was able to get that correctly. Next question is examples of formative assessment. So the correct answer here is quizzes, recitations, picture analysis, forum posts, and online polls. We move on to the next set, which is a question on summative assessment. So we asked earlier our teachers from outside Metro Manila to take this assessment. So when to use summative assessment? So summative assessments are actually given usually after finishing a particular module. So this can be given through a form of long tests, quarterly exams, and other related exams. So next question, true or false? Learning outcomes cannot be measured using formative assessment. So that is false, of course, because we can measure formative assessment, learning outcomes using formative assessments. And then the last question, what are the 3 components of a summative assessment? So that's written work, performance task, and quarterly exams. All right, so we can still see responses coming. We apologize for the technical difficulty that we encountered earlier, but for the interest of those who wasn't able to access the quiz earlier, we've already changed the settings so that you can access the test. We'll keep it open even after this discussion so that you can experience filling out an online quiz which can be given via Microsoft Forms. Okay, so thank you so much for your participation with that activity. Now, before we move further, we'd like to get your feedback and we'd like to do a quick poll about our session for the past 3 days. So, flash on your screen right now is also a QR code and a link to a feedback form. We'll give you 1 minute to accomplish it so that you can provide us insights on how we can improve on our session next time. The timer starts now.
30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds. Thank you, Sir Efren, for reminding us.
Fifteen seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so we see answers coming in already. Thank you so much. Your answers from the feedback form will really give us an opportunity to see what your comments are about our sessions in the past 3 days. Right. So in the interest of time, we might not be able to accommodate questions anymore, but we'll try to keep answering your questions posted in the comment section and the chat box. So yeah, that's the end of our 3-day webinar on measuring learning outcomes. So we hope you had a good time, and more importantly, we hope that you gained something to apply as you go back to your actual work and start teaching in the new normal. So on behalf of my teammates, Sir Neil, Sir Efren, Sir Leo, and again, this is Arlene. I am your facilitator for today. Thank you so much for allowing us to share what we know to each one of you. So we wish you all the best, and we hope to see you again next time. Thank you and have a good day ahead. Happy Saturday to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.